All right. So I'll put my timer. Okay, it's here, right here. It's really an honor and a privilege to be here. I would like to extend my warmest appreciation to the, first of all, the Chancellor, and also, of course, the distinguished management, and of course, the TEDx team that put this together. Thank you very much for honoring me. I truly appreciate this. Now, I'd like you to lend me the next 11 minutes that could potentially change the rest of your life. I've advised over 160 companies over the last 17 years. March last month marked 17 years in management consulting. I've done one thing for almost 2 decades now. So there's some stuff that I know that I'm willing and happy to share with you. You know, one of the most important things you need to understand about being in university is that it is the only time in your life that you'll be surrounded by potential functional experts or experts to be, or multiple disciplines in a way that you can draw from them to get or solve a problem, to get something or solve a problem. The next time after that, you're going to have to pay for it once you graduate. So what do you mean by that? One of the biggest challenges we're facing today is the lack of talent. I mean, you cannot spend 4 to 6 years on a university campus, come out, and still need significant, take note of my words, significant retraining before you become useful to an employer. Then what did you spend your time doing? I want to help you understand and show you a connection this morning between your degree and a direct problem in the market that you can begin to solve now to build your intellectual muscle to solve those issues. Now, there is a small challenge, and please, I like to say with all due respect to the creative industry, we love you guys, content creators and all the likes. We like what you're doing. We need you to sell and promote our products because, I mean, you know how that works, right? But Nigerian youth, hear me loud and clear. There are intellectual depths across multiple disciplines that we've not explored. And some of you are being sort of politely said or respectfully said, misled to think that if you're not a content creator, you cannot succeed. There is a place for that. I mean, I'm creating content, I'm speaking to you. But there are other intellectual depths around your discipline that Nigeria and Africa is waiting to tap from. I'll start giving you random examples. Let me take political science. Now, if the Chinese is coming into the Southwest, any state in the Southwest, Lagos, Ogun, Ekiti, and they want to make investments, do you know they can ask the political science department of Covenant University to conduct a comprehensive research and advise them on the stability and security of their investment to ensure that when they, after a certain time, election comes, election cycles, their monies will be returned, and under what terms and conditions will be returned. What does that require? It will require the department to draw from multiple disciplines, from economics to law, because of legal agreements and so on, and to study of even history, to see the relationship between the governors and whatever happens in between, the people, and how they have guaranteed the security of investors' funds. That's a political science gig right there. But what did you read? Political science. Or like they say, politics is a game of numbers. What does that mean? It means that political science can sit down with mathematicians and they can draw models and charts to determine political outcomes using such intelligence. Did you hear what I said? Can I give another example? All right, let me use food and nutrition. I know you don't do it here, but we can look at maybe microbiology or anything that is related to that. One of the biggest challenges that nursing mothers are facing is that children prefer the unhealthier stuff. I don't want to mention names, but you know they like a lot of noodles. And in food and nutrition graduate or young graduate right in school call her friends together and they sit down and they concoct or put together some kind of meal that will taste like noodles, but at the same time will be healthier or much impactful for the baby's growth and development across board with all the multiple vitamins and minerals. And then drawing from the Department of Agriculture, all right, and telling them to send the products or grow the products organically to meet the needs of that. Have you seen the interconnection again? Multiple disciplines. Are you with me? Now, if I start to take things like economics, business administration, marketing, I can give you examples, 2 more examples. Let me give you sociology. Sociology, very powerful, right? Taught like a very, very theoretical course, but powerful implications. What do I mean? The sociology department can decide to conduct a study in Yaba or Surulere or certain parts of Lagos like Oshodi that are now being overtaken by development. And the poor people who used to live there with cheap accommodation have to move further. This sort of scenario or trend is affecting a lot of businesses. So businesses are beginning to lose talent because their talent, such as teachers, factory workers, they cannot afford to live close to their workplace and they have to move further. And that is leading to loss of jobs, loss of employment opportunity, and even affecting the bottom line. What kind of research can the sociology department or sociology students put together, package that paper, and advise companies after conducting research on how they can withstand or recommendations around that? When you complete such an exercise, you're not going to submit your CV for any employment. People are going to hire you on the spot. Like I experienced in my 400 level when I was about to graduate. GT Bank gave me a job. Like, come take it. If you can serve in this, I'm happy, because I took a solution to them. Remember what I told you, that this is the only environment where you can draw multiple disciplines. Because the moment you live there, it won't work. Let me take mathematics, one of my favorites. Now, for mathematics, or I would say economics, or that anywhere where a lot of arithmetic is required, ladies and gentlemen, I plead with you, do not take your math for granted. When you hear the most important skill set, critical thinking and problem solving, what do you think critical thinking and problem solving is? It is mathematics. Yesterday I was in a board meeting with one of the retail companies. You know the brand, it's very popular, top 3 in its industry. And do you know the conversations we're having? Listen to this. We were looking at the interest rates in the market and discussing different banks and what the interest rates were. Now, there's a particular bank, and I don't want to mention names here, that is, it's government sort of backed, that gives single-digit interest rates. Now, there's a process for those single-digit interest rates. Single digits means less than 10%. There's a process for that to be available, and that was taking too much time, but the company needed cash. So the question I asked was, have we done the arithmetic? Listen to me. To calculate if we take loans currently at more than 29 or 30% or maybe 32%, and look at the cycle time, we can quickly turn that around with our inventory, vis-a-vis when the funds from the government-backed bank will be ready, based on the pricing we'll set for our products, and then determine whether it's worth taking the investment or the financing. Boom. The room was quiet. Now, that problem, I could have brought it to your university and say, hey, can you guys solve this problem for me? I will transfer 1 million naira to you. Meanwhile, I'll keep the other million because I asked the client for 2. Do you understand? You can solve problems instantly. It's mathematical. So I don't want you to have that idea of I'm waiting for something to happen before it will happen. Now, so what is the secret? Let me give you my recommendations, because I gave you several case studies and scenarios to reveal to you that the intellectual depths that are required to solve everyday problems. This was a boardroom problem. Or do you want to talk about unit economic analysis, how to calculate the cost of water bottle? What am I saying? Plantain chips. To degram from the oil to the fire, oil to the gas, to the matches, to the salt, to the pepper. It's called unit economic analysis. This is my arithmetic that you learned in secondary school. Are you with me? Are you with me? These are the problems we're solving every day, and I'd like to challenge you that. Can I take one more? Proposal writing. That's where we make a lot of money. Sometimes as much as 500,000, 750, 1 million for something that would take us 48 hours. Now, it's not to throw the numbers at you to brag, but to explain to you that proposal writing is English composition. That creative writing you hated, that is what it is. You heard what I said? Composition, vocabulary, choice of words. Now, Covenant University is one of my favorites, right? It's now one of my favorites because it's been mentioned when you're hiring people, because now I have to profile, and I profile your university, I profile your state of origin, but I can't give you that data yet and how I get that. Some state of origins are beginning to prove certain functional expertise for me that are working. Don't worry, it's not in a negative way. It's for the good, because there are other ones that you just have to follow the process. But there are certain states when they say it rings a bell and they always deliver. I won't mention it here, not at all. You have to pay me for that. But if you want to hear the one, Covenant is top. Another one that I must say, I don't know if I'm supposed to say it here, that is also great, is Ile-Ife. Now, I didn't go there, thankfully, so you know I'm not biased. But that is also good. They somehow just produce really, really great people. You guys are now the leading, I'll give it to you. So I hear all the employers are saying, hey, Covenant. So I've given you your due honor, right? Can I continue my lecture? All right. Now, so what is it? Now, let me give you the steps. Now, let me shock you. What I'm about to tell you sounds as simple as go dip yourself 7 times in the river and your skin will be like that of a baby. Now, I'm speaking in parables, but it's important. What does it mean? Now, when I say this, people don't believe me because it sounds too simple. You see, the 3 most important foundational, I would say, courses or things you need are mathematics, English, and general knowledge. Now, let me put it out straight. Please, if you don't like math, you have to go back and like it. When you get into the workplace, the quality of the problems you solve, just like the examples I gave you, is called problem solving. A lot of arithmetic and so on. English language is important, even though in an AI dispensation, AI is only, can do better when you
the smarter person understands the fundamentals of English language. The third one, which is not very popular, is general knowledge. And general knowledge, I generally recommend a local and a global platform. And I'll put it up on stage here because they're my friends. Arise Global Business Report, 11 o'clock there about Roto Sudiri. That global, it's called Arise Global Business Report, where they analyze the news, and then BBC Global News Podcast. Those two, if you have, they're daily pills you have to take. Now, what do they cover? They cover your pestle, political, economic, social, technical, environmental, and legal knowledge that is broad. When you listen to news, you have something as basic as culture, travel, leisure, geography, and so on and so forth, all contained within one episode. The challenge with books is using deductive reasoning, you need to read 400 pages to get to the conclusion, right? But if you consume news daily to augment what you have, labeled and saddled with mentors, then it begins to make sense. Not celebrity mentors. They won't have your time. I'm talking about people that you cannot really tell. They don't have social media platforms, but they're the number one in their respective industries. And they're all over the place. Those are my friends. What am I saying in conclusion? This is what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to become and be relevant right here from campus, you can draw from the multiple disciplines to begin to solve the problems that matter. So number one, a solid curriculum, math and English. If you walk into my library, you will see New General Mathematics, SS1 to 3. That's where I draw from and I sit down in board meetings and I bamboozle them with that. Secondly, solid English language. To be able to speak it and understand it. That's why I recommended BBC or BBC.com. Because BBC is vast and they really write well and they're a bit balanced and I enjoy the way they communicate. Then of course, general knowledge. And I gave you 2 hacks on that. Now when you proceed, you begin to curate the books in your library. Now I'm going to books that are suited and directed to your experience. Not too skewed to, they shouldn't be too skewed to faith, too much faith, or too much self-help. But it should be balanced because you need to get to the workplace and immediately be able to recognize problems that you can solve. And I gave you several scenarios to explain that. It is on that note that I'd like to thank you for listening to my lecture and challenge you to go forth and become. Thank you.